Well, alrighty. Let's get ready to pass some stones. Wait, what?
Any game that is a VR exclusive is already at a disadvantage when it comes to getting new players. Not everyone has a strong gaming PC, and not everyone with a strong gaming PC also has a VR headset, and not everyone with a strong gaming PC and VR headset wants to do the equivalent of a 10-mile sprint in their spare time. That's why most VR developers try to appeal to as wide a range of audience as possible. This VR game is not for everyone. Rumble is a game with a very high skill floor and extraordinarily high skill ceiling, with an initial learning curve of a 1-degree ramp. You may think it's just a game about throwing rocks at strangers, and while this is true, it's also the closest I've ever felt to learning legitimate martial arts. This game uses essentially 0 buttons. Everything you do, aside from moving around with the joystick or unmuting yourself for voice chat, requires meticulous placement of your controller in a very specific order.
How'd you get over there?
If you plan on letting your friend try this at a sleepover, make sure you plan for 3 hours of grueling practice and rage quits. The elaborate movements you'll need to memorize force you to move in ways that mimic a weightlifting regiment mixed with a ribbon dancing ceremony. Your hands or hooves have to be in a certain spot to start a move and end in a certain spot to complete the move, or nothing will happen. In your early fights, whether online or with the robot sparring partner, you'll spend the majority of your time repeating the same motions time and time again while you get pelted by discs and wondering if your life will ever get better. That is, until you realize you needed to rotate your controller an extra 45 degrees and things start to click.
Oh, I was the problem.
It may be reassuring to know that you're definitely not alone if you're struggling to get the hang of things, because much like Toff Bei Fong, we're all going in blind. This is not built on a system that adopts a close enough approach. This accepts the proper move in the proper order with no exceptions. You can mirror the motions depending on what is more comfortable and intuitive for you, which is greatly appreciated, but there's no alternative for hard work and repetition.
And I think that's about 10 points for Gryffindor.
It's one of the only games I've played that relies entirely on muscle memory. Button smashing won't help you here. The only thing that will help is time. Spending precious time ranking up to learn about all the moves, talking with other players to learn combos that the game doesn't tell you, and practicing over and over and over. Rumble is on an island of its own, where skills built up in other games have no way of translating over. You're a marksman in every FPS, good for you. Ow. You're an expert rally driver, so impressive. Ugh. You've spent 1,000 hours in VR? Who hasn't?
No!
Everyone starts at 0, and it rocks. Boo. When you're ready to take on an online opponent, you can select the range of skill level you want to open yourself up to, but I wouldn't be too afraid of those higher levels, because you'll end up learning far more from defeat than you will from victory.
Guess I'm a boomerang. That's new.
The rank up system, in my opinion, happens way too fast, as I reached black belt before fully understanding half of the abilities. But then, something miraculous happened. I was matched with a noob. Someone just starting out, unable to make a single thin wall. I helped him out, gave him some tips, and then I realized I wasn't a noob anymore. I could win this match without even trying. That was the first time I noticed that the skills were sinking in. After hours and hours in the pits, I was building walls without thinking about it. I was making rocks without looking at my hooves. I was actually reacting to the fights in real time. That's when it started to get really fun. I went from spending 2 hours in the game to tapping out at 45 minutes when my headset was slipping everywhere from buckets of sweat. I went from practicing with the robot on the second easiest difficulty to destroying it on max or jumping right into a fight with the masters. I was still losing as often as I was winning, but I never felt like I didn't know what to do. I just needed to get faster, more confident, more precise. I'd still mess up a move or do the wrong one, but adapting to a new situation started to become second nature. And this was only 12 hours into the game, although I guess that's still kind of a long time.
I want that one. No. Out of here with that. I'm getting this one.
I can honestly say that very few games frustrated me as much as Rumble did in the first few hours. But the satisfaction of beating a black belt on my own merits made every irritated groan worth it.
No!
This is when video games transcend entertainment, when you truly learn new skills and disciplines that would have been impossible without dedication. This is not the only game that pushes you to work harder and rewards commitment, but it's one of the precious few that demands a good workout every time. It's received some great feedback and it continues to get solid updates, but it's unfortunately very unlikely that it will take off in the way that some other VR games have.
Haha, got your toes.
When new players just cannot see a world in which they understand the mechanics, it will always have more dropouts than graduates. But let me tell you something from the perspective of a pig who has a hard time finishing anything he starts. It's worth it. It's worth the sweat. It's worth the strain on your brain.
What happened? I made them disintegrate.
It's worth the debilitating defeats at the hands of rudeness. It's just worth it.
We're gonna pretend I did that on purpose.
When I know that I've drastically improved from where I started, that's when I know a $20 game has done more for my self-discipline than any PE class in my life. Also, so few games make playing in the dirt their core concept.
Pooh.
Hey, thanks for being here. If you want more VR stuff, just let me know. Or don't let me know and just wait for me to read your mind. I can do that too. It's all good.